September 19th, 2002 was the day that Our Films was born, and in 13 years, they have grown from a small group of friends filming to merely pass the time, into a family whose passion for film that cannot be matched. From their first moments to their most recent accomplishments, they're a force that can't be stopped. They are Our Films Entertainment, and these are their stories, their lives, behind the camera. Since 2009, Anthony Pawlak has been loyal to his core as a proud member in the Our Films family. Alongside Our Films veteran actor Jeremiah Roberts, the addition of Tony's acting ability benefited Our Films with now two phenomenal talents, and seeing his work was proof enough. But his interest in film didn't start with Our Films. In fact, it actually started when he was just a small child.
I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I enjoyed just performing or being the center of attention. I thrive on it. And when I got into high school, I was big into drama, and I really felt just like I was having a blast. You know, playing a different role every month, or, you know, getting involved in a certain character every month. And I think what inspired me to be an actor was just my overwhelming sense to perform, to just be in front of the camera. I enjoy it, I thrive on it, I love it. So it's what I want to do, and what I want to continue to get better at, what I want to continue to perfect every single day.
A fan of movies through and through, Tony's start in acting didn't actually begin until 2009, when he was casted in Our Films suspense thriller, Cornered.
She likes ice. Beth likes ice. Who doesn't like ice, right? What the fuck?
I didn't like him.
What the fuck?
I didn't like
What did you do?
I didn't like him.
What did you do?
I didn't
Steve!
like him.
Steve! What the fuck did you do?
I didn't like him.
What the fuck? Derek! Cece! She just fucking killed Steve!
Looking back now, there's a couple of memorable moments from the night we filmed Cornered, especially since Nick and I just recently remade the film. But I think looking back on it, the memorable moments were just how much fun I had, you know, making the movie that night. I mean, it was all shooting from the hip. You know, we were pretty much improvising the whole thing, but I mean, we had a lot of fun, and now I look back on it, and I'm just glad that I was part of it.
After the production of Cornered, Tony took 3 years off to pursue other interests, leaving Our Films as they began production on what would be two of their biggest films to date, 2010's Justified Vengeance and 2011's Phasmophobia, were both public releases and were a huge hit among friends and family in the community. But Our Films knew that if they were going to be larger than life, then they would need a bigger arsenal, and quick. And it was only necessary that they would need some familiar faces to return to the camera. So with that being said, Tony made his return as a minor character role in 2012's The Killers Within. And despite the film's negative reviews from some on the subject of pushing the boundaries of female nudity and extreme violence, for Tony, it was a breath of fresh air to once again be a part of film. Now, 3 years since his return, Tony has been involved in over 90% of Our Films features, including the film that was single-handedly responsible for the rebranding of the Our Films name and the way that they had produced them.
Hey, wake up. Come on. Come on.
I said look at me!
When I had the opportunity to act in The Diary of Michael James Thomas, at what I like to call the turning point of Our Films, you know, the rebranding era of Our Films, I really got a chance to work with some amazing people. I mean, Kyle Anthony from Burning Eden Entertainment, and Jason Haynes, who is an extraordinary photographer. and Ron Griffin, who is just always a pleasure to work with, professionalism all the way through. And when I was on the set of Michael James Thomas, with the lighting and with what we had for only a short period of time, we transformed a regular house into a small little movie studio right there. We had lighting, blocking, we had sound, we had everything. It was literally a great experience for me because that's where I got to see that our films was turning a corner. Our films was progressing in an amazing way.
Since the debut of The Diary of Michael James Thomas and the official rebranding in September of 2013, our films had been improving their craft drastically. But despite their recent turnaround, it was never only just rainbows and butterflies. In fact, sometimes it was downright brutal on the set.
There were times where, you know, we're trying to get something done, or, you know, we want to make something happen the right way, but it's not going the way we want it to go. I mean, I think when we made the movie Devil's Night, the first time we filmed Devil's Night, the first night we filmed, it was a 3-day shoot, but the first night we filmed, it was just a cluster. It wasn't any one person's fault. It was just a result of us not being prepared for what we wanted to do. I know that tensions were kind of getting high on set, and, you know, I mean, when you're involved in something like that, it's easy to get frustrated or it's easy to get discouraged. But that's, again, when you're filmmaking, when you're a filmmaker, you have to go through experiences like that to learn from them. And if you learn from them, then they were necessary.
But that's just one example of negativity on the set. Not everything was like this. In fact, our films had only gotten better and much more organized since the production of Devil's Night. A great example of this came in June of 2014.
What is it?
I built it brick by brick. 4 men made out mud. They lost it trick by trick. So I'll take it back in blood.
The Condemned was a huge leap for our films, as it was the first time that they were involved with the collaboration of other local filmmakers on a huge scale.
Nick Deere and Deere Street Productions, we worked with him on 2 48-hour film festivals last year, and I have to say that Nick Deere is probably one of the most professional gentlemen I've had the chance of working with, the pleasure of working with thus far. And this past year, when we filmed The Condemned, I got put under the makeup of Brian Malka, who is just a genius at his craft. And he made me into a demon, just a evil, demonic looking demon for this role in Condemned, and I had to really get into that role, and by the time it was all said and done, I didn't even recognize my own face in the mirror. So definitely that was really fun.
Following The Condemned and its huge success came many other films that Tony was a part of, including a suspense film that our films had collaborated on with Kyle Anthony of Burden Eden Entertainment, called Drawing Dead. It was a time where Tony's acting skills had really come into place.
For Drawing Dead, which is a film that Kyle Anthony wrote, I did a southern voice. I was kind of like a trucker, so I had to really get down deep, gritty into that southern voice and that get down. Hey man, the hell's wrong with you?
It's bullshit, man. I mean, what the fuck is this? Some kind of sick fucking joke? It's your fucking fault. You're the reason I'm fucking here, doing all your fucking dirty work.
Recently, Nick Barone and I were talking about a couple of characters because we're both Italian, and we could really do a good Italian voice. So we were thinking about doing a movie, a little short, coming up called The Two Dudes. It's just about these two Guidos, you know, who enjoy grinders and talking to people over the phone about their situations and giving them advice to help them live by. So I'm really looking forward to kind of getting that underway, just doing my Italian voice and really bringing the Italian people ahead another 5 years, not setting them back in any way, shape, or form. Grinders.
Towards the end of 2014, Art Films was in the talking stages of possibly rebooting some of their past films, such as older features like Justified Vengeance, Broken Bonds, and Phasmophobia. But to accomplish this task, they felt that they needed to start small. Maybe by remaking a few of their earlier shorter films, they could get a good feel on what it would be like to take on a huge task such as a feature-length film. So between October and December of 2014, 2 films were written, shot, edited, and released.
What you are about to see is a tale of horror and survival. And just a warning to our viewers, some of the things you're about to see aren't suitable for a younger audience.
When you look at the remake of Cornered, you see night and day. You see a film that was shot on low-budget cameras, you know, with poor editing, I mean, for its time, and you see a film that was really just amateur at best. And then fast forward years later, you really get to see the full scope of how far our films has come. In only a few short years, you know, you've gone from something that's just been a few friends messing around, you know, making movies, to something that has really transformed itself into it's organic. It's really, when we're on set now, I've really gotten the feel of being on a movie set. As far as the reboot of Paranoid goes, I mean, that's another one. You really get to see the full scope in the reboot. I mean, that was the film that was another one that I really enjoyed making because I got to do a dual identity. There's no way in hell that I'm going to kill her. Do you understand me? But that whole scenario wasn't even put into play in the original Paranoid. The original Paranoid was just about a guy who thought he was being followed around. And there were a few shots of what he thought was a man following him throughout the movie, but that was it. With this one, you really get the sense of a man who's broken into 2 identities, whose one side is paranoid and scared and afraid to act, and then he has another sadistic, evil side who's pretty much pulling the strings and driving him to make these evil decisions. And it was just really, you see something like that, you can understand why reboots and remakes are definitely a viable idea.
Even though remakes are being shot and produced in an age that is technologically superior than what it was 13 years ago, doesn't necessarily make it a better film. In fact, our film's members are known to find themselves taking a glance at their past work, whether it's for enjoyment or constructive criticism.
I think one of my favorite films, one that I keep going back to, is Justifiable Vengeance, which is just a really, really cool action movie. And I love the fight scenes, I love the gunfights. I thought that the whole film itself was just really, really cool. There's a line that Jeremiah Roberts, who is another actor for our films, delivers in Justified Vengeance, which is "You're forever fucked." And he delivers this line right before he lands the killing blow on the main villain. And every time I hear him say that line, and every time I see him just take out the main villain right afterwards, I always crack up, because it's so funny, but at the same time, it's perfect for that film.
We're gonna have a beautiful little fucking barbecue.
I've got a little thing to say to you.
What?
YFF.
Fuck is that? What the fuck is YFF?
You're forever fucked.
Our film's classics like Rose Lane, The Third Wheel, Cornered, Justified Vengeance, Broken Bonds, and Phasmophobia are just a few titles that will be cherished and remembered. And despite all of the remakes being talked about, newer and original films are always being written up as well. One example of an original film is one in which Tony himself will be playing a huge role in.
My film that's going to start production on April 18th is an action film titled Blindsided. Action/fighting. It's going to star me as a character who has just living his life, and one day he is blindsided with ghosts from the past who he wasn't expecting to see ever again. And from there, it just goes into awesome fight scenes. Really cool slapstick, witty dialogue for an action film. And with everything that I know, all the resources that I have at my disposal, thanks to Nick Deere, Kyle Anthony, Nate Moody, Nicholas Barone, I cannot wait to make this film.
With Blindsided slated for production this spring, it will mark the beginning for our films and their bright future in film production, for not only this year, but for many years to come. But it isn't all film for Tony. Outside of acting, his life is rather colorful, with many hobbies and an active social life. And without the ones closest to him, he wouldn't be the person that he is today.
My inspiration, who inspires me? First and foremost, my mother is probably my biggest inspiration. She is the rock in my life. She's shown me that no matter how hard things get, you just gotta put your best foot forward and keep pushing forward. My uncle, who over the last couple of years has really taken me under his wing and helped me get through some pretty hard times with my dad passing away, and who has really just been there for me as a second father, if you will. Hobbies. When I'm not working, I enjoy going to the gym, you know, because this body is a temple. Gotta keep the body. It's like driving a Bentley. A lot of upkeep, but it's worth it. Playing video games. Just recently got an Xbox One as a gift, and talk about a sweet cherry system. So yeah, playing video games. Real social guy, so my friends are a big part of my life. I love them to death. So hanging out with them when I can, and my family, absolutely, my brother and my mom, my dog, spending time with them, and just living life, man, enjoying it.
Our films will continue to produce professional and entertaining films for the world to see and enjoy. And with talent like Anthony Pawlak, we very well can believe just that.